Donald Trump's longest-serving chief of staff says if re-elected, the former president would rule like a dictator.
This is a window into who Donald Trump really is.
Did he run this country as a dictator the 4 years he was in? Absolutely not.
North Korea sends troops to Russia to fight in Ukraine, why defense officials are alarmed. And tonight's Eye on America, we look at why the nation's barrier islands are eroding and how to stop it.
It is difficult to live here, but at the same time, it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
The CBS Evening News starts now. Good evening, I'm Norah O'Donnell, and thank you for joining us. Less than 2 weeks to go to Election Day, and Vice President Kamala Harris is calling Donald Trump increasingly unhinged and unstable. That comes after the former president's own former chief of staff, John Kelly, said on the record and on tape that Trump repeatedly praised Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. He also said his former boss fits the definition of a fascist. Kelly is a retired four-star Marine general who also served as Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security. Vice President Harris warned today that if Trump is elected again, people like General Kelly will not be there to serve as guardrails and keep him in check. The Trump campaign vehemently denies Kelly's remarks, but this is all playing out with voting already underway. More than 24 million Americans have already cast ballots either in person or by mail. We have a team of correspondents covering both campaigns with tonight analysis from CBS's Major Garrett. We want to turn now to the Harris campaign and its door-to-door effort in battleground states to get every vote they can. In Pennsylvania specifically, the Democrats have 50 offices with more than 450 staffers, and they say they've knocked on more than 1 million doors since the end of July. CBS's Weijia Jiang is in Pennsylvania.
Popping by a popular Philadelphia deli for lunch.
We're going to win.
Vice President Harris visited with campaign volunteers.
We have 13 days to go, and I am so deeply thankful to you.
Some Harris supporters have no doubt about their choice, including his father, voting with his daughter in mind.
Her future. That's all that matters.
Others are not as motivated.
Just call and see will you be voting on November the 5th, Election Day.
Phone bankers with the nonpartisan group Black Men Vote are making 50,000 calls a day, pushing people to the polls.
Can you put into words how important turnout is?
If every Philadelphia voter came out and voted one way or another, it wouldn't matter what the rest of Pennsylvania did.
In South Philly,
hello, hi, how you doing? My name is Matthew from Black Men Vote.
Canvassers are targeting disengaged voters, too.
A lot of doors I've went to, they say, I don't know. I don't even know who to vote for.
The Harris Walls team believes 10% of battleground state voters are still persuadable, especially in the suburbs. That includes Delaware County, Pennsylvania, about 25 miles outside of Philadelphia, where Harris is participating in a town hall tonight. Campaign spokesman Ian Sams.
In these counties where Trump is likely to win, if you gain ground and you erode the margin, it really helps you win statewide.
Tonight, a senior Harris campaign official says the vice president will make what they are calling a closing argument speech on the National Mall next week, at the very site where Trump delivered his January 6th remarks right before the attack on the Capitol. Nora?
Weijia Jiang, thank you so much. Now let's bring the race into sharper focus with CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett. Major, everyone's trying to figure out how is this election going to go? And of course, this late breaking news. How do you think the comments might affect these persuadable voters?
So we're all looking for keys to the final outcome, Nora. And to pick up on Weijia's point there, one of the keys will be how solid is that Republican base for Trump. And we know from our own internal CBS polling that people who are Republicans who think of themselves as Haley Republicans or Reagan Republicans are torn. And they might reasonably ask themselves, these comments from General Kelly and others in the military, have we heard anything like this before? Well, the answer is yes. 3 days before January 6th, in the Washington Post, 10 defense secretaries wrote an op-ed saying they were fearful Trump would use unconstitutional means to try to overthrow that election. The Capitol riot 3 days later vindicated their concerns. So these Haley, Reagan Republicans might look back on that and these comments now and say, wait a minute, there is something I'm worried about. And the Harris campaign focus groups and internal data tell them that is a persuasive message. That could reach them, which is why you got the ferocious Trump denials this afternoon.
Major Garrett, thank you very much. Turning now to the war in Ukraine and an ominous new development. The Pentagon has confirmed that North Korea is sending thousands of troops to Russia in what Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin calls a very, very serious escalation. And Ukraine's president believes he knows exactly where those troops are ultimately heading. CBS's chief foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan has the story.